That's your favorite part of the show.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
What part?
You yourself as a character.
Yeah, that's so dope.
You're amazing.
Like, people still like me.
People that
I think-
don't know you.
If I'm to compare you, but the only reason why I don't like this analogy is because of its inevitable conclusion. Because it would, if you were to put it as Top Gear, you would be the Jeremy Clarkson.
Ooh, now Clockers is too.
And now you know where the conversation goes.
Exactly. But
So who are you and who am I?
Do you know what? Mine looks like the Voltron head.
I know, right? Because you got that.
Hey, McCullers.
Alright, cool. I'm recording.
Hanzi hona bara apundiri botsa Hanzi
As much
akasara
as I try and fight, I'm James May.
He's so James May.
That's I tried to fight the scenario, but yeah, that's.
I was watching one of the podcasts about when we started speaking about.
I lost there.
No,
I think you won.
You
I
won.
think I definitely won.
No. Hamster's quite cool.
You're also the youngest. You're the.
Is he the youngest out of all of us?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Going back to the James May thing, remember when we hit that podcast and we were talking about the moon landing and the passion that this own had? That is so James May. He was like,
Yeah.
I wish someone would say that the moon landing wasn't real.
I'll take them out.
I wanted to ask you a
Wait,
question
then.
about football.
Does it happen to you a lot? Do you think it's old age or like think there's that people who are forgetful?
It's not old age.
Okay.
There was one point in time where I thought I was getting stupid. No, I'll be honest.
I have that.
And I think we had we mentioned this in one of the podcasts.
It's a
and
big
I
fear.
actually had to start reading again. I had to just read.
So what happened? So what will you be going through when you like feel that you're getting
What's
stupid?
I'm not that checked up.
So like you don't know stuff. Or like
The speed of processing,
That's it.
remembering things, you know.
give me examples. I'm
Like
not
if
getting
you like those moments, and maybe you don't have these moments, but there's moments where you're like you've made a whole thing and you're like, oh crap, okay, go downstairs and you open the door to the closet or the wardrobe or whatever, and then as soon as you open, you realize I don't know why the hell I'm here. Like what?
I do that
What did
all
I?
the time.
Like you moved with such purpose to the point where you're supposed to be, but then when you're actually there, you're like I don't know what. So you sort of like start looking around, hoping that something will jog your memory, and
start
then like
moving things and-
yeah, and then eventually it's just like toilet paper. That's why I came.
No, you know what you end up doing? You end up walking back to the toilet like, yeah, whatever. Back to the toilet like, there's no toilet.
And then that's the other tactic. If the searching doesn't work, then you go back to
Back
the
to the
place.
point.
That what's it called? That spot your purpose.
the point of the last
Yeah.
memory.
It's really
The last thing I remember, it's so
Is I was sitting on the potty.
it's
no, but it's actually that bad though. We I know you're laughing at us, but it shall happen to you. It
So,
really will.
is it always been like that? Or like is it something that then has happened with time? Do you feel like there was a time, or do you feel like it's seasons? So like you go through a time in your life where you're like, I'm on this, I'm a bad on. Then there's some point later on, where like 6 months you're like, ish, I'm off my game. Then you get back on it again.
For me, it was just, it's the fact that I allowed myself to become this dumb. You know what I mean? And now I'm actually clawing my way out of it. I know I'm saying dumb, but it's not.
Also, you think it's something you let happen?
Yeah.
It's not that just happening.
It's
to
just
you.
like gaining
So
weight.
what didn't you do?
exercise.
It's like gaining weight, yeah.
Yeah.
What didn't you do? That
You weren't
Exercise.
eating, you weren't
Yeah.
interested in
Nah.
stuff anymore.
Nah.
You let other things become more important instead of like maybe taking a few seconds to read, you play a video game instead or something like that.
That's interesting. Okay.
They're making the frogs gay. That's what they're doing with TV. They're making us dumb with TV.
I think that's actually true. Like not in a. Have you heard there's like this conspiracy theory that's like they like all the stuff that you'll have on the news, right? Like I remember there was one time when there was like Anna Nicole Smith. That's hey, now I'm really showing how old I am.
Oh, bro.
I'm really showing how old I am.
And then Nicole Smith in the news.
Yeah, but and I remember there was some other big world event going on at the time, and I can't remember exactly what it was. It might have even been something going on here in Sim, but on CNN, all you saw was that. That's all you saw. And then there's like this theory that like there's all this stuff that distracts you as the masses because it's a simple issue, right? Something like abortion rights or something like I don't know, like education policy. It's a big, complicated, messy thing, right? And it's hard for you to parse and digest. But I Nicole Smith and it's easy.
It's easy. It's quick chow. It's quick chow.
And so then there's the idea that like people are giving us these really easily digestible things, and you'll see it even in our TV shows, where you used to have like TV shows where it was like this long arc, and there was like this whole thing like from the beginning to the end, right? Like even in the last few years, like name a show that's been like Breaking Bad, where it's like had like the slow burn the whole way through. People haven't tried to fight. Like you watch a show now, especially like a new show, they pack everything.
It's like a movie. They're making a 30-minute movie every single time or whatever. Yeah. I agree.
Hectic. Who do you think causes that though? Do you think it's people adapting to the times of how we then now consume information, or have we then now been conditioned and made into these microwave, want it fast, want it all now, can't concentrate for long enough? Chicken and the egg. What came first?
These are conspiracies. We're starting with conspiracy theory.
I blame.
We want our videos to be. We're not even monetized, and here you are now.
I think you're gonna have to beat me. I blame these big companies because it's for the quick buck, right? Like where you can get a lot of respect and whatnot out of a show like Breaking Bad or whatever, right? But I don't think Breaking Bad makes even a quarter of the money that something like America's Got Talent or like one of these other shows would make, because they're literally marketing machines, and the goal is for you to make is for you to make money. You've got a few people like your HBOs and whatnot who they get off on the fact that we're intelligent, we make smart TV and stuff like that. But even they gotta put boobs and stuff in there.
Oops.
Violation of my rights. For not putting them on me.
Put the money.
Well,
the one gymless nigga.
not too late. It's very interesting though. And these people are making you guys dumb.
I think they are though. Because you know what? A couple of nights ago, where I actually said, let me watch something on Netflix. I had a choice. I really love nature kind of, programs. But I actually chose comedy. And it's because all I wanted to do is just go, and that's it. Not have to think, this ego and this talent and feeling the young. For me, literally my decision to watch comedy was based on the fact that I didn't want to use too many brain cells to watch something that is educative. And I was just like,
let me just laugh.
Give us an Italian on from Brooklyn. Boom. And I watched him, and he was hilarious, and he actually served the purpose. Now the question is, what is driving my head to say this form of entertainment is what I want?
Because life is hard, bro.
I was gonna say that. I was actually gonna say that.
So your brain automatically just says, can we just calm it down?
I don't want to think.
Yeah.
I just want to.
You had a whole day where your brain was
TV.
making decisions and doing big things.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, I don't know if I can, if I watch this, I might get tired.
But the things, I get worried. People lie to us on social media, right? And they say, oh, now I'm at home, I've got an hour to read this self-help book. I've tried to read a self-help book at like 9 at night. I'm so tired. I can't go past it. And you do one of those things where you're like, okay, I've just read the first page, nothing made sense, start again. Okay, I've just read the first page, nothing made sense, start again, click on comedy. You see what I mean?
What we need is like a life hack in Zimbabwe. Because like you're saying, it's difficult when you've had no electricity the whole day, you've been in a fuel queue for 5 hours, the amount of money in your bank account has now changed in terms of its value, and then you get home and you want to sit and read a book for an hour.
A self-help.
You're depressing me right now. Man, I'm so tired.
No, but
like every word you said made me more tired.
But back to conspiracy theory. So bring it back to Zimbabwe. So some owns theorize that even some of these other changes or these things that they've taken away are not really a problem, but they've just been created so that we're distracted from some of the other things going on.
Bigger ones.
So for instance, like the announcement of the Zim dollar coming back, we've taken away electricity, we've taken away your fuel, you're focused on that. So when we make this change, you don't make as much of a big deal about it, even in the way that we do it or the way that we change it, because you've got so many other things to worry about
dark.
that it sneaks by you.
But they've done that. Haven't they done that often?
Like it's such a hard thing.
What's our topic today?
Because
This
it's I like Donald Trump not because of his policies or his views or whatever, but because he's the master of spin. He's the master of look over here while I mess up over here. Like this hand is like doing, and it's like, oh, what's that nonsense over? And like I really feel like, you know, like kids with keys, and it's like, hey, and then like over here,
Getting rid of all the candy.
yeah. But I think it's an effective tool. And if Zimbabweans are doing it, I think it's they've got us in the right place to do it, man. Like we're just trying to survive at this point, and so like almost everything that happens, it's almost like I imagine like a kid, like a mother like holding a kid, and she's got like 7 other kids running around, and she's like seeing all they're doing, but this one kid she's got here is a span, so she hears like, hey man. This is a lot, and that's what I feel like we all are. Like we're all the mother with the kid. We have our own situation, which is so hectic that we're just trying to survive, and we're trying to make it through, make our own plan. When you hear the government like, hey, do you know what? Now we're going to do this. I don't know. We're going to take your firstborn children. Like, hey, that's wild. But this, I guess that's what happens. Like,
it's just life.
yeah. You're like, to everything that happens, you're just literally saying I guess that happens to me then. Like
Those meaty.
See, I'm scared because I think that's what's actually taking place right now. I think we've got
you think the problems
kids.
are manufactured?
Yes, and I think because we've now got a number of problems. So it's not only power, it's not only this, it's a bunch of things. You know. Families have problems to say, what time are we going to iron clothes? That is actually
a real conversation.
These
are real conversations.
That's so wild. You know, when I messaged you guys this morning at like 5:30, and I was saying like, hey, are you guys coming in at 10? That was when I was going to sleep. Like literally, like the power came back at 10. I was like, right, it's time to graft.
Time to live.
Yeah. Grafted, I worked, I did as much as I could. Then at 5, I was like, all right, now I need to make sure that these guys are here. I did as much setup as I could before like my brain just gave out. And then I was like,
is that why you look like that?
He looks fresh though. He looks fresh.
At this point, I'll zoom in on his eyes.
do my eyes look small?
You're like Robin. You're like those 19 jumping Batman items. We're good to go, Batman.
Those are great.
See, here are the Zim problems, and this podcast couldn't come at such a better time because when do you now find time to be creative? When do you find time to be creative? Because you're now doing an all-nighter, right? You're trying to balance the home, just to balance the home. You know, I was in a fuel queue for 4 hours, right? Doing what I could, but the distraction is you start your engine, you move forward, you switch it off, you wonder, you school run, you've got to do this, you're wondering what's going to happen with this food, kumba, who's going to have, I had a braai yesterday because we had kids coming home and I was like, okay, we need to plan for When am I going to plan to actually move forward in life? Because I then got up at 4 in the morning, right?
Trying to catch an hour of
Catch an hour, just trying to be by my pet.
just an hour of sanity.
Just to be able to be like, okay, the lights are on, tick, tick. And I got up today and I was like, I'm going to bed. No. Back to bed. Woke up at 6.
Shame.
Survival. Okay, let's bring it back. These lofty issues that we have no answers for. Do you think that we then sometimes do that to ourselves? In terms of you're thinking about making yourselves down. Do you think we then kind of trick ourselves into create certain issues that then become priorities that aren't really to take our attention off of certain things that we need to maybe deal with because it's just a safer, it's an easier, it's a more palatable place to be.
Yep.
This baby.
I agree.
And then we let things fall apart around us because it's easier to deal with this
You see,
immediate danger.
this is the problem. I am done up because I don't understand what are you saying? Like, so.
Okay, let's bring it back. So we're talking about Zimbabwe as a nation and how it's possible that conspiracy theory, there are people manipulating us and making things happen and taking away certain things that we don't see certain things. So I'm saying, as an individual, do you think we sometimes do that to yourself? We sometimes do that to ourselves. That we then...
Oh, as in we make our own problems to... Oh, okay.
Exactly.
All right.
We manufacture situations.
Took me a second.
Can I
go, Austin?
It's okay.
Go for it. Let me put up the hard
We've
drive.
had like 4 hours sleep. Don't blame me. Don't blame me, Robin.
I like this guy. This is the one I want to see every single time. They have to do it all night before we shoot. I personally believe we do that because you want to go to what's called your safe place. Moving on in life is always uncomfortable. Being the best you can be is always uncomfortable because you gotta grind. You gotta grind hard. You gotta work. You know, you could have maybe you're an example of not being that because you said to yourself, listen, when the power's there, I work. You could just as easily have just gone and tucked yourself in bed and dozed and just said, you know what, we'll wait until tomorrow. Let's see what tomorrow has to offer. I believe we have this attitude of whatever, mangwana kind of thing going on in Zim too much, such that there's no productivity. I had one conversation with a guy in the fuel queue when we were now at the pump, and I was trying to explain that I've not had a productive day. Now, could that have been different? I actually did about an hour's worth of work. Could I have done 2? Could I have done 3? Could I have actually made the environment I was in conducive to doing what I should have done when I was in an office? You see what I mean? But because I was in a fuel queue, it was easier for me to work, check my app, push the chair back a little bit, you know, and then you wake up when the car behind you is going, and it would, you know, kind of thing. So what could I have done to change that situation in order to be productive even though I was in a place that was not?
I'm at war with myself constantly about this issue because due to like certain things, how I was raised or whatever, it's almost like I was the type of person who like it would be like, and this is actually a true fact, when I remember I got something stolen from my car, and then I was like, shit, someone bashed into the car. It was so random, I couldn't think of it. And my mom was like, well, maybe you should park in better places next time. Like there's like, no matter what happens, there's always something that you can be doing to make it better.
Okay.
Right? Like
okay.
so, but also that can be a very toxic way to look at life in certain ways. Like there's in one sense, it's made me good at what I do because I've always been like, no, this photo shoot was good, but I can do better next time. But then on the other hand, you then don't give yourself certain breaks that you need. Because sometimes things are a lot. Like, not to be cliche, but life has seasons, right?
Sure.
So, yes, there were times in my life when I was super productive. And But to be fair, things were firing. You know, everything was going well. Jobs kept coming in constantly. I was always able to do, and so like it then was like a never-ending cycle where I was able to like feed myself like with validation and whatnot from a job well done. Oh no, and then I can still be more creative. I can still be more creative. So then there's other times when it's like, okay, fine. When it's like a lull like this, what I try and learn to be. I'm trying to learn to be like, okay, fine, this is this season. Like now, let's rest and whatnot. But I don't know if that's good or not. I think it's more like, imagine like a what's it called? A 4x4 stuck in the mud. Like you always need to keep moving, but there's a time when like foot heavy on the pedal is not gonna do much for you.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. Then you put it into low 4. And it just shakes itself out. Come on. What kind of 4x4?
Let's go on this direction. I really think about like 4x4s a lot. Like this is just me being tired. I don't know.
It's now actually become Top Gear. Now, gonna talk about these jobs.
And I was really about to James, man, because I was gonna go deep into like comparison between Jeep and Land Rover and Land Cruiser. Yeah, so thanks. Yeah, let's
Go for it. I think it'll be interesting.
No, I just
Land Cruiser.
I'm not a car guy at all.
No,
I think you're low key a car guy.
Low key.
Yeah, you're low key car.
Low 4.
My thing is
See
like
what he did there?
when the sheets come in, like I'm getting what's it called, a JR Works Mini Cooper, because I think it suits him well. I think it suits him well. Like I used to drove.
Because I can actually see it happening.
Yeah, no, and it's like I don't know. You can pull it up, but it's like this it's really a sports rally sort of like mini, and it's like. I used to drive with we used to go to Zambia sometimes, and like on that road, like past Kariba, when it's like all dippy like this, I couldn't sleep because I was just like always being woken up because we'd be like taking turns. But it wasn't because he was a bad driver. He was just going really quick, but he was in control of the car the whole time, and it was impressive. But anyway, 4x4s. I like Land Cruisers because I think Toyota is the king of Africa. At the moment, they're super reliable and like all of that stuff. I like the really ugly ones, like those the ones I'm talking about.
The boxer.
Toyota cut the check.
Yeah, I really like those.
Cut the check.
The only annoying thing is like the insides are like
rigid.
Yeah, like it's made like everything about that car. Like the inside is, it's like they made this car. It's like, let's make the perfect car. It needs to be like able to climb over this stuff, carry all this stuff, and then at the last moment they're like, oh snap, humans have to be inside. By the way,
we need a chair for the driver.
Yeah, that's literally what it was. Like everything else is so over-engineered, and then this like the interior is really whack. The same thing goes for the Land Rover Defender.
I just love that car.
I like that car as
oh
well.
My goodness, I had one.
Really?
I sold it because I was broke. I don't like being broke, guys.
So how do you guys know this stuff? Like where did this information come from that you currently have?
My brain decided to remember that.
But like where did you get it from? Like at some point like you read a magazine, you watched the show.
Car magazine was really formative.
Car was the business. Before Top Gear took over.
Yeah.
Car was the business.
Yeah. Okay.
You used to like being sick because you then go into a doctor's room and you're like,
yes, he's got car.
Then when they call you, you're like, oh.
Yeah, that's why I learned. Yeah, that's why I learned a lot about like my technical facts about cars. That's why I found out about learning about torque, learning about engine power, and then combining that with learning about different types of engines, rotary versus straight six versus whatever.
See, I'm more. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so maybe all the things that you think are a waste of time or your brain checking out are actually useful. Like maybe your brain needs that diversion and that taking in of information so it can then
I would
do
I would
certain
I would
things.
agree with that if I was making money. That's the main thing.
He has to stay. This Tony has to stay. This is the guy.
Well, you could have been to get rid of him.
I had a short list. Let me get my phone real quick.
I was about to be chugged.
I was about to get.
Is it making it sound like we had a discussion?
Oh my
Yeah.
No, like
Okay.
How awkward.
I know you were saying, so this is how he has to
I
stay.
think you're setting up and it's like, oh yeah, no. So we have Jeremy here. He's just gonna try something.
Just move your chair. Just
Move
a
it,
little
move
bit
it,
further
put chairs
along.
over
A
here.
little further along.
Put Jeremy, what are
No, you're just in the frame. We promise. We promise.
Yeah, it's a big thing for me where I'm like, I feel like I need to I don't know how to take advantage of the information that I have and then make that into money. And I think that people who are really successful, because I remember even in college there was a point in time when I was teaching myself how to cook, and then I started getting like my friends would then ask me, oh please come and cook for me, like I have a party, we're doing this and doing this. And in all the years I did that, I never charged anyone. And I'm like, why didn't I have that fungwa? The only time I've ever done that is with pretty much my job right now, where like, and I was forced into that because I came back here, there were no jobs in what I trained for. So it was like, well, I have this thing that I've been obsessing with, maybe I can make money off of that. But I want that to happen all the time. I want my random information and my random facts to be easily applied into making money.
Are there no self-help books that can help trigger that?
I don't believe in self-help
practices.
books.
I do.
Can't get past page one.
No, I've moved on.
Book in there.
I've moved on. It was just that time in the evening. I was really tired.
Okay, this is an interesting one. So you believe in self-help books?
Yes.
I don't. Why do you believe in self-help books?
I believe that and I'm going to be spiritual here. I believe in what Proverbs brings in terms of just being able to be a person of integrity and etc. A lot of self-help books just extract that conversation and just give a simpler, I'm thinking of that whatever for dummies kind of look into it. So where someone won't read the book of Proverbs or whatever or meditate for 3 hours, what a self-help book does is it will extract those little tidbits and allow you to exercise them in a way that is conducive to your now I've read quite a few of them and there's some that I'm like, whoo, this guy is going on and I move on. But there's certain ones that I've read where it's bam, 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 it's quick and it's what I want to hear. So there's a part of my brain that wants to change, going back to being dumb. There's a part of my brain that wants to change. And there's that part of my brain needs to hear what this book is saying. So I'm not following a method that I feel has come from the stars. I believe I have potential to be this person. However, there are certain things that I've been doing, so i.e. the current book I'm reading, it's actually just talking about believing more in yourself. It's talking about being able to take steps and ask the right questions, do the right things, to have a belief in yourself. And those are some of the things that I've struggled with in the past. Where I've just said, me, really, why, how, kind of thing. So it's less about the person who's written the book. It's just I'm grateful to that person that he's written an abridged version, sold it on Amazon. I've got a Kindle app, and that's what I kind of take when I need to then move forward. Yeah.
Why don't you believe in self-help books?
Let me not say that I don't believe in self-help books, but I don't believe in. I don't believe in
wine.
I don't believe in most self-help books because I feel like the industry is very predatory. I've definitely read some and had some books, like even like the book that you were just mentioning now. There's a book an audiobook that I got called "You're a Badass" that I was listening to, and it was very helpful in like helping me reform some of my thoughts. What I then have trouble with is that you will have like the self-help author who then releases a book every year. And like I don't believe in like self-help in the form of the iPhone, where there's like planned obsolescence to it, where
Yes,
you like
yes,
I think that there's certain things like the one that I kind of really respect, like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
I love that.
Like that one. I may not agree with everything that's there, but like I like the idea that it's like it's not a how-to. I used to get very angry with like certain books where you'd hear like it was like, yeah, you know, I made these millions, so I did this and I did this and I did this and I did this, and I always get frustrated because I'm like, but obviously you can't just say that because your situation was different. That's why I used to like reading Malcolm Gladwell, because Malcolm Gladwell is by no means is he a self-help person, but what he does is he sort of like explains that like, listen, this is how I think one of my favorite ones is how he explains like all of the big tech guys are born within like about 3 years of each other. Your Larry Ellison, your Larry Ellison's, Bill Gates, who's the other guy? Steve Jobs, all of those guys. They're all born within a few years of each other.
Bill and the late thing you were born with.
Yeah, they were born within a few years. They were born within less than 3 years of each other, and it's because of the time that they were born, they were able to maximize on tech. Because when they came out of school, before you come out of college to and you were doing computer sciences, your goal was to get into like an IBM or like or one of these other big companies, right? Because they had the computers. Computers were super expensive. They filled up like this room and stuff like that. So it wasn't like something that you could then take and experience. You were on the clock whenever you were on computers. But then they were born at a time that when they came out of high school, the first personal computers came out, and they were in between high school and college, so they were at a place where they could really experiment and they could really do all these things that then pushed them forward. So it wasn't just like, oh no, these guys dropped out of high school and then dropped out of college and then they were able to do. No, it was the time that they did it, and there's all these external factors, and so I think that there are basic truths for real, and that's where seven habits comes into play. Now, when you talk about like, oh no, you need to do this, and like when it's become specific to like, I don't know, like we're saying like, oh no, I did this and this and this and this thing.
Different environment, different settings.
I get very wary of that. And
so can I ask a question? So what do we think is for the Jobses and Gateses of this world, they came out at that particular time and it was good for them and it worked for them. What does Zim have? What is Zim holding on to? What did we? Because we're in a place where there was a continual recession. There was this, there is that. Are you telling me there's absolutely no silver lining that we can actually say we're in this time, we can be entrepreneurs because
It's a difficult thing to then answer projectively, like into the future. Most of it is easy to do retrospectively. So if you look at like a Strive Masiwa, who then saw things, understood telecoms, knew that was a place to go, and he did the things. For him, Zimbabwe has been a very successful place.
Right.
And I'm sure there's others around him at that same time of that generation who then maximized and leveraged what they had and became. But if you ask him, I don't think Strive, or besides the prophetic aspect of his, I don't think Strive would have told you what it was going to look like for him in 10 years. And I think we need to then figure out and get to a place where we're maximizing and leveraging the entirety of what we're experiencing currently to then be able to move into where we need to move into. Because I'm convinced the reading of car magazines has a part. It has value, even if you can't see it now. It might then be the conversation you have at a dinner with a person who's interested in cars that I can't have because I don't care about cars, and then opens a specific avenue or a door simply because you have this knowledge and this information.
Not to go too far off topic, but someone was actually talking to me about, because I'm not a football fan. These guys are though. But I personally, I've never and then I was talking to someone and he was saying that he spoke to someone who was like, it was like a CEO or something like that, and he was trying to start a conversation with like Bora, and he couldn't talk, and then the guy actually said to him, he's like, you know what, even if you don't like it, try and learn something, because these are the icebreakers that lubricate conversation. So you have this knowledge, and it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. We all know that our lives don't change based off of this, but it is something that can. It's a common ground area.
It's easy, it's palatable.
Yeah.
It gets the conversation going.
Like I used to play soccer.
Go sports.
Yeah, and it was really funny actually. I had it was like it wasn't like a school thing or whatever. It was like a league that you then join. Like parents would then bring their kids or whatever. So then I joined this team, and the coach found out that I was African.
Oh my God.
And he was convinced that I was I was the gem. And unfortunately, he would like keep me on the bench the whole time. And then one day he then sends me in. Things were in a crisis. He's like, sending the African. So then what happens is he then sets me up as like, I don't even know the position, but I was up near, I was like near the goal. Then this Owen kicked the ball towards me, right? And then I just wildly just kicked without a prayer in the world, and it went in. So he was like, right, this is my guy. The second time I went in, header into goal. And then for the rest of the season, I was hot garbage. Hot garbage. So yeah, that was interesting.
That's soccer.
Shame, I strayed from your point.
I don't remember what the point was, but that was worth it, bro.
Oh,
that was
God.
worth it.
It was horrid.
Oh.
Guys, I think this. I think
let's
this.
bring it home. Let's
yeah.
bring it home. Let's bring it home.
This podcast is indicative of how tired we are right now.
This is us. Let us know. What are some of the things that you think distract you or affect you from focusing or doing the things that you need to get done?
Yeah.
Do you feel like the government is secretly to distract you from the things that you're supposed to be focusing on?
True.
What do you feel? Tell us what your thoughts.
Cannot wait for the feedback session the following Friday. I think this is quite important. Even though we've been laughing, blah blah blah, it's quite important. And I would love to know what other people are doing, because I want to be a success. Like my brother here, unlike my brother here who doesn't want to make money from his knowledge of cars and etc and cooking.
That's all that I want to do.
Well, you're not doing it.
That's what I'm saying. I don't have the knowledge. I'm very like cognizant of the fact. Like so, even this is the thing about.
But
this
I think you have the knowledge.
No.
Is Ash really dumb? Tell us.
Wait, no. I don't need my feelings to get hurt any more than they are right now. So just let's talk about Tash and not me.
No. But like, because honestly, like even in this business, right? In terms of technical prowess, like I'm very confident in my technical skills. I can teach myself anything. There's nothing that intimidates me in terms of a job or whatever. I know like I'm a bad man in that area, right? Now, when it comes to photography business, those are two different fields.
Right.
And that I was able to teach myself the technical skills. Technical skills are very easy for me to teach myself.
Right.
When it comes to like the business end of things, that's something that's very hard for me. That's something that I have to be very conscious of and whatnot. I can maybe get like one area okay, like my marketing side of things, but then everything else, it like all falls apart. Like so that's like I do want to make the money, and I'm also being very honest with myself that listen, that area in terms of like figuring out the business side of things, that's not my strength. I want to be taught that. But
So
don't give me a self-help book.
so here's the thing. Are we done? Or can I just one more thing?
Let's just say this is us and stand up and walk away, and then we can come back and you can give them the one more thing.
No.
Okay.
So
why did you ask?
I've forgotten now.
This is us.
Ah.